Let's make sure that popped up well. Yep, everything looks correct there. And then
I believe that was you. It was, yep.
Is that a Discord notification?
Is that in everybody everywhere? Oh, let me pull up the chat in another window.
You better post that in your server, Surfbone.
All right.
Surfbone's like, no, I don't like money.
You're slacking, bro.
Are we live?
Yes.
All right.
Oh, we're live. I heard myself there for a second. That was a war crime.
Sub
Damn,
Ethereus. Damn, what was that?
Get pop up chat.
Ah,
there we go.
Man's dripped out with the hat. I see that.
Yeah, bro. I had to figure out, dude. I was like, I want to wear a hat and I want to wear my bucket hat, but like, it's hard to wear it with like the headphones. So I'm like, fuck it. I'm gonna just put it on top of the hat. Like, fuck it, you know.
Yep.
No.
Nate, no.
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 What up, Genos? What up, Ama?
Man, the neighbors picked a perfect time for a verbal confrontation.
Horton, here's a domestic dispute.
What debunks we doing today? Well, we're addressing debunks, so we're not debunking anything. But we're gonna be talking about like Shinra counters and stuff that people have that are probably dog shit, and then probably some Giorno stuff.
Because rumor has it, since the king has been away, some pot has been stirring.
Yeah, and not the good kind of pot.
Yeah.
Damn.
No one was cooking. Let's say that much.
Nah, man.
Watching Kosu and Pins live feels seeing my fave anime episodes come out. Yeah, I feel that.
Oh, that
It's
makes
a shame Close Pin.
I could
Yeah,
probably
Pins
get
had
him
to
on.
be a real stinker and move out though.
Yeah, no, right? He probably like if he still lived here, he would just like pop in. But thank you, Genos. I appreciate that. To deal with the with the Giorno stuff, man. You need something stronger than pot dealing with these motherfuckers, man.
You need to like snort insect poison or something, dude. Like,
yeah,
something fierce.
Inhale like.
Just to fill up the chat, you all want to like tell him about the recent incursion that all three of you have subjected yourselves to. Just as people are coming in.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
The guy in your Discord server.
Oh, that dude. Yeah, he sure is a person of all time. But the real way to fill up the chat is to put those mammoth emojis in the chat. Love to see those mammoths.
Yeah, we got to get that started.
Yeah, mammoths in the chat.
I need moonshine, then huff glue. Yeah, spitting. Yo, what up, Primordial?
Surfbone's an expert on huff and glue.
Yeah.
Nah.
That's why he crashed at the base.
Shut the hell up.
Is there a way of me playing that that theme, Nate?
I mean, yeah, just play it and let the audio stream.
Yeah, true. Hopefully it's not like extremely loud. Let me see. Is it an
I
hour?
tried. It's literally it's an hour and 3 minutes long. I told you it's making it. Yeah,
Scan for file. Play anyways. It's fine.
Take your virus.
Even if I'm an OPM fan, I kind of hate some down plays on Fire Force. Yeah, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I think that's kind of like a bad mentality. Like one verse being strong shouldn't affect how you view another verse, right? Like you can be right about how strong OPM is, and also be right about how strong Fire Force is. Not everything is going to be some like fair, debatable matchup or something like that.
Yeah.
Kind of like how I've been saying. I like Luffy more than Goku, but that's not gonna make me now suddenly just want to search for an argument that says that Luffy beats Goku all of a sudden. I'm not just gonna do that.
Bro is about to get.
Bro's about to get
12
12 different.
Nah, I don't want to get copyrighted because Nate made this himself, I imagine. So like, it's.
I used a MIDI of the song that I just added.
You said what?
I used a MIDI that already had the notes played out. I just added drum.
Oh yeah, well.
I would recommend to keep it on the play side just in case. So.
I think it should be fine, right? Worst case, I just wouldn't play it again. I don't know.
Yeah. Again, you still have you don't have your stuff set up completely yet, so it's not really gonna affect you all that much.
Right.
You really start getting money in once you actually have your AdSense, working and confirmed to be working. So
I mean, it said it was all active, so I don't know. Like, it may or may not be. But anyways, I think we have enough people in the chat right now. Should we start with the first one?
Sure.
All right, sick.
Hello, everyone. Drip Sauce here.
You know, I think I've reacted to this guy like a couple of times, and I know this guy. I'm sure we all know this guy.
We all, unfortunately, do.
Yeah. He's a not great kind of guy. He's just.
He's the type of person that we were speaking about earlier about letting your view of a character affect how you view other characters because you want that character to be strong.
Yeah.
This is a prime example.
He's also like a homophobe, I'm pretty sure.
You and I directly addressed him.
Yeah, like right before
in
we
your
banned
server.
him.
Yeah,
So.
like he was on some shit about like, remember it was like Xenoverse and Heroes being canon, and he.
That's right. Yeah.
Remember, like he legitimately said, "Man, why are you guys so asinine about wanting evidence all the time?"
Weird, right?
Weird.
It's almost like we need evidence to make sure something's correct. But fuck it. We'll just react to his shit, But my recommendation is don't subscribe to this guy. But in any case, we'll get it started.
And today I'm going to be debunking the common misconception that Shinra has immeasurable speed. It's something that's been going on for quite a while. I do have a debunk in the past, but I think I didn't address it properly, so I'm going to be going over my review of it and then debunking it properly in this video. So in the scan below, we see a stickman.
Did you say rebunking?
Yep. I'm pretty sure he did.
Can the people who say rebunking just like remove themselves from the gene pool?
Bro, it's such a common thing, especially on TikTok, and I'm like, why? It's such a cringe word.
Yeah.
So, let's see.
And below we see a stickman properly in this video. So in the scan below we see a stickman who's traveling an infinite distance. So we need to understand what infinite speed is. Infinite speed is traveling an infinite distance in finite time. However, this can be either 0 seconds or above.
Huh?
Nope.
No.
Already wrong.
What the hell?
Already wrong.
Yeah.
0 isn't a finite number.
I don't really mind too much if someone said like 0 is a finite number, but for this case it does particularly matter.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's the lack of a value, dude. That's it. What you would be saying is inaccessible, unless he's taking the definition from versus Battle Wiki, which he most likely is.
That is also an L.
he most likely is getting it from his father Atari, who even has a less lack of understanding of speed and dimensional tiering.
Quite unfortunate. So right off the bat, it's infinite speed is like he was okay with like the first explanation of that. It is an infinite distance over finite time, but it's not 0 seconds. It's like 0.00001 and like the closest to 0, but like not. You know what I'm saying? And then whatever finite, right? Anything that's finite. It doesn't have to be. Yeah. Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. I don't think that has much to do with this though. You're good. But yeah, so this is not he's incorrect about this, guys. Don't listen to this. Also, bros, first super chat ever. Take the crispy 2. Appreciate you, bro. Thanks, Nate.
Man,
take the gift card money.
Nate really just donated while he's in call.
Yeah. Oh, that's a homie right there.
I ain't got no other use for the gift cards than this. Take the damn money.
Yeah, that's a homie. All right, we'll continue it.
So it can be literally any amount of time. Even 0 can be a part of it. Because honestly, inaccessible speed is trash. It's not actually speed, actually.
What? You were just describing what inaccessible speed was, and now you're saying it's like not a thing? Do you just not like the word inaccessible?
One, why is it trash? And 2, why is it not a speed?
I mean, my bigger criticism of like the TikTok community is that like these have been arguments that have been going on for years, right? And by arguments going on for years, I mean there's dumb people who won't accept obvious things, right? But random TikTokers are like throwing themselves under the bus for like no reason. It's like if you went into like power scaling, right? And you're not into like JJK, but you're like, you know what, man? I think Gojo's actually fodder in his own verse. Like, why are you taking up random takes? Like, I don't get it.
I don't even know, man. I don't even know why he said that. It doesn't even have anything to do with the video. You know what I'm saying? He was just like,
yeah.
Like, why bring up inaccessible speed if you're debunking
immeasurable speed?
Yeah. Also, we got a $4.50 donation from Amaterasu. Around the world, around the world. I know I needed to do that. I had to do it like with the actual melody, or else, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can't just read it. Like, so I did that for you, and I appreciate you. Thank you.
It doesn't make any sense. So now the speed formula is speed equals distance over time. If you want the speed formula for infinite speed, it would be infinite speed is equals infinite distance over 1 second of time. I'm using 1 second as the amount of
What happened to the 0 second?
time, but it can be any number, even 0. So what is a measurable speed? By definition, a measurable speed is movement beyond linear time. This speed cannot be measured. If time is undefined, then the speed formula cannot be applied, making the calculation impossible. So technically, the speed formula for a measurable speed would be
pause for a
distance
second?
over...
Yeah, well, what I think people forget is that the speed formula is more of like a practical equation, more than like this thing you're actually solving. If anybody's taking chemistry, you'll know that you'll deal a lot with units, right? And you have to like cancel out units, and it's all about like what unit you're using. Mm-hmm. So when you're saying like the speed equation, you're saying you're moving 5 meters in 2 seconds, so 5 over 2.
Yeah.
Right. But what immeasurable speed would be typically, or like the most regular use of it would be like 5 meters, which doesn't make sense already, but in like negative seconds, because you're moving back in time. And because you have a negative number there, and like even putting this equation into something practical doesn't really work. That's why it's called immeasurable.
Yeah.
And the reason why this is relevant is because there are people who will just try to like bring up big math word to try to break the formula, as if that's the same.
Yeah. Which happens a lot.
Yeah, we're dealing with a way to represent things here. It's not like some actual equation we're solving for, right?
Yeah.
So.
undefined, since there is no defined time. The formula itself breaks. Now, if you travel back in time, it means you got negative speed. So the formula would be distance over negative 20 seconds. I use negative 20 seconds, but it can be any amount of negative time. In this case, the formula doesn't break. This is because negative time is still linear time. In short,
I think he's confused on what linear time means.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah.
And this is what I meant earlier. I didn't expect to be right this fast, but it is just like so many of like these debunk or rebunk anything you see on TikTok. It's just people taking a stake in things they had no idea about and read like a wiki article really fast to try to sound smart on the video.
Yeah. I mean, correct
that's
me if
kind of
I'm
the problem.
wrong, but like all linear time is like time that moves in a forward progression, right?
Yeah.
So if you go back in time, it is breaking that. Right, you are moving beyond like linear, like the boundaries of linear progression. So that's what immeasurable speed means.
Even though a certain person just left the call, there are other feats that end up being immeasurable because of nonlinear time. Like there's something in Super Mario 64 with Tick-Tock Clock, where time is moving all sorts of different ways, but Mario can still move around normally.
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
Yeah, or I have a few like quotes. I have people moving on like a different plane of time to like circumvent things and whatnot.
That's interesting. But that would still be immeasurable though, right? As long as you're like unaffected. Yeah.
Yeah. Why is this guy talking so aggressively in the video? I don't fault him for that. It's a trick because if you seem like confident in like all that stuff, people are more likely to buy into what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I think holding your stance confidently is better than doing the sort of so-so bullshit you see a lot, where someone's like, "Oh, well, this could be true. I don't know."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just trying to sound more convincing, is all. Which again, it's not.
Which
it's
is
really not a
rhetoric.
bad, but he's just passionate about this topic for some reason.
Well, like the problem is like either people want to hear you rant about something, or they want to hear you be informed about an opinion that you hold, instead of just taking the fence-sitter position and be like, well, you could make an argument for either side, but I'll let you guys decide on what you think.
Yeah, and that's why I like videos by people who are really prominent in the community talking about the subjects they're prominent on would never do well, because they wouldn't be like sticking hard and fast to these conclusions immediately. It would be a lot of like, well, I don't know, this could be true. Maybe if this was, it'd be a lot of so-so, and people don't like that.
Yeah. So no, I agree. I think if you're a content creator, I think you have an opinion, and like your channel is stemming from like your opinion, or it's like based around that, you should probably give your opinion. Like not just like
people come to your channel because they trust what you, and they want to hear what you have to say.
Exactly.
If you end up not telling them how you think, then what was the point to coming your channel?
Yeah, exactly. So, I think Homeboy's approach isn't bad, but like obviously his scaling sucks. So
short words, traveling to the future or the past is still linear. So yeah, going back in the past is not a measurable speed, because you have an axis where 0 is the middle, 0 is the present, and then if you go to the future, you go to 1, 2, 3, etc.
Yeah, so even if we pretend that like moving back in time by a sheer speed isn't immeasurable for some reason, right? It would still be faster than infinite speed. If we lay these out, infinite speed takes a second to get to the finish line, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or like not a second, but it'd be like a infinitesimal amount of time, right? Immeasurable speed characters would get there before the gunfire to start the race.
Yeah, exactly.
Or people who move back in time via sheer speed. So it's really absurd that we're playing this weird game of trying to like discredit what immeasurable speed is defined as. And this kind of goes to show that he read a wiki article and didn't actually do any real research.
No, not at all. And I guess I can kind of understand where like people get this misconception, right? Like, because he's taking the term linear like pretty hyper literally, but he's like not understanding like there's certain boundaries that come with like linear time, right? Or what's considered linear time. And then when we use speed in reference to like or in correlation to linear time, whether you're moving past, moving forward or backward in time, you're breaking a certain boundary that's placed like from like normally or naturally, right? Because we move with time, right? Well, I guess in this sense, right? You know, we have our own opinions of time, but like, yeah, you know what I mean?
He's missing the forest for the trees.
yeah, exactly.
Like, so.
etc. And then if you go to the past, you're going to -1, -2, or -3, etc. And 0, like I said, is the present. But to be a measurable speed, you have to go beyond linear time entirely.
Actually,
and
can you pause one more second again?
Sure.
When he says like 0 is the present, that'd be like time elapsed, right? And
Yeah.
if we go by that model, then the race starts, and the race starts at 0, and then at a very small increment of like 0, right? So like 0.0 repeating 1 or some bullshit. The infinite speed character arrives at the finish line. But at 0 precisely, the negative speed character, or the negative, what's it called, the immeasurable speed character could arrive there.
Yeah.
He'd arrive before he left.
Yeah. Is this drip sauce? Yeah, it is. Unfortunately.
Oh, it is?
But-
I didn't know it was.
Oh, yeah, no,
Funny.
Clothespins was asking.
Oh, yeah. No, I knew he was asking, but I didn't know it was drip sauce.
Oh, yeah. He's
that number line,
Unfortunately.
everything is still linear. Negative seconds is still linear. The past is still linear. The present is still linear. The future is still linear. You need to go to the very end of infinity, the very end of time itself, to be able to be qualified for a measurable speed, which Shinra has not done.
We also don't even.
Oh!
We don't even know.
Wait, that's not. So hold on. We didn't actually debunk Shinra having a measurable speed. You're just giving your own definition and saying, well, by my own by my own standard of what immeasurable speed should be, therefore Shinra doesn't actually have immeasurable speed.
Yeah.
That wasn't the video.
It's
It's not an actual argument.
I'd also like.
You're
a
shifting the
proof of-
goalpost.
I'd also like a proof as to why, like, baseline infinity is the end of time. Like, why can't time go on beyond that?
Yeah.
Like, why is it limited to the amount of countable numbers? It's kind of weird, right?
Yeah. I don't even know how we could even apply any kind of value like that to something like time, which is like
Yeah, like,
that's just weird.
what are we measuring time in, right?
Yeah.
Are we measuring it in, like, movement of an atom? Like, what are we measuring it in?
Yeah. So his debunk is just his opinion. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a majority of these debunks is just their opinion, right?
Well,
Nobody's
it's not
actually
just his
debunking a
opinion.
damn
It's-
thing.
It's not just his opinion. He's just shifting the goalpost.
Yeah. He's also
It's-
not
it's what-
debunking. Yeah, like you're saying,
It's,
he's
it's
shifting it.
essentially what essentially what versus battle does whenever they don't like that certain characters have become stronger now, so they have to immediately change their tiering system around, so then they can then say, oh well, it doesn't actually qualify anymore. Like
What?
which
when
they don't like to do.
I remember when
Because
Super
they're lazy.
Saiyan Ryu approached versus Battle Wiki about Xenoverse characters and Heroes characters having immeasurable speed, Ant immediately interjected after there was already a conversation about whether or not the argument was valid. He just said, well, we're thinking about getting a immeasurable speed anyway, so this argument doesn't even need to happen.
That's insane.
I
So
If we
because of
talk-
that, everyone then turned on Ant immediately.
Yeah, if we took what he's saying, like in like sort of like a debate context, right, where you're just saying like this is what immeasurable speed should be, you're basically acknowledging that all the arguments for Shinra are right. You just have a standard where you don't think they should be what was called immeasurable.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so any debate that comes down to an infinite speed character versus Shinra is still blitzing, according to you, because you're not actually addressing what he does. And you're
Yeah.
kind of accepting that he's doing certain things and trying to come up with a reason why they're supposedly not fast.
Yeah. Also, Surfbone, I think you got a fanboy in the.
Apparently,
Yeah.
I'm noticing him in chat.
You gotta acknowledge
Hello,
him.
Apple.
Acknowledge him.
I know. I'm saying hello, Apple. But yeah, this isn't really a debunk video. This is I shift the goalpost so Shinra doesn't have immeasurable speed.
Yeah. By my definition, he's not immeasurable speed, which is fine, but that doesn't debunk my argument at all. So, yeah, Genos is like, I feel I want Drip Sauce to join the Discord and debate. I promise you don't.
We already have several months ago, and he turned out to be a massive homophobe and transphobe, and also just blatantly disrespected a bunch of people in the Discord in general. And ever since then, he's just been like, his entire Discord is just this cesspool of people who will jump you if you happen to disagree with Drip ever. And if you ever voice like disagreement with him, his homeboys will literally come after you. Like, I made like a fucking community post addressing this guy, and then a bunch of his like goons just immediately hopped in the comments and were just being like, you should stop ducking him, get in this Discord.
Yeah, I think I remember that. That was
it was it just ended up proving my point that these guys don't actually care about having the conversation with you. They just want to be they just want to be told they're right.
Yeah.
And they want their favorite character to be strong.
Yeah. We'll hear what else, or the rest of what he has to say real quick.
Going to the past or the future is just a different range of motion. A measurable speed in the way it is portrayed in the power scaling community is misunderstood. What they are displaying is not an actual
the irony.
Speed, but a different range of motion where you are able to hop on top of the timeline and treat the temporal axis as if it is a spatial axis, which is why they are able to.
Like
he's just saying a bunch of things, dude.
Yeah, like, it's not a shotgun, but there's a name for it. He's literally just throwing out shit. He's throwing everything at the fridge and hoping something sticks. And the worst part of this too is these types of arguments are like the worst for smart people.
Yeah.
Right? Because when we hear it, we know what these words mean. We're kind of like giving it more value than Drip Sauce is, because Drip Sauce doesn't know a damn thing about half the words he's saying.
Yeah.
Including his own name. But so, like, I don't really know what he expects this argument to mean, because it's actually incoherent.
Yeah. I'm gonna back it up a bit. I actually want to know fully what he says. I get a lot of my Broku, what's up? I get a lot of my subs wanting me to make Asta versus Shinra, but I don't think they realize how bad Shinra smokes him. Facts, yeah. I don't know much about Asta, but I've had conversations with people that scale like Black Clover and whatnot, but I've always asked them if there's anything like immeasurable, like at the bare minimum, like if any of the characters there are immeasurable, and they're usually like no, and I'm like, yeah, there's not really a chance.
As far as I'm aware, as much as I've read of it, there's no indication of that.
Yeah, I mean, there are some really cool things from what I've heard.
They're high into like MFTL, and they're an incredibly hacked series. Yeah. But beyond that, it's not like Asta is even gonna remotely touch Shinra, and he's just gonna get knocked the fuck out.
Oh lord. Coco Pebbles says there's actually a lot of immeasurable things in Black Clover. I don't think speed's one of them, right?
Yeah, well, probably.
Wait, let me give him the same response we give to a lot of people. Well, Coco Pebbles, if that's the case, you should make like a really good like document or like a video or something detailing why it's true, right?
Facts. Yeah, make a video. We'll react to it actually. By all means. Also, I mean, W name though, Coco Pebbles. So I'm gonna keep playing this, and oh yeah, no, I rewinded it back. So.
Is not an actual speed, but a different range of motion where you are able to hop on top of the timeline and treat the.
That's so weird.
What?
That's so weird.
Wait, all right.
What are you talking about?
If we define linear as like a line, right, and you're moving up in relation, like perpendicular, that would be non-linear.
Yeah, it actually wouldn't at all. You're
like,
just
if you're moving.
Look at this, like. Look at this example. Like, you're just hopping on top of time.
Yeah, that would be non-linear. Like, you are moving like sideways in time.
Have you never heard what the word linear means? Have you taken a geometry class ever, Drip Sauce?
Holy shit.
Also,
it sounds like you've never even graduated high school.
Also, it's really funny. He like alleges that like the power scalers, or because apparently he's not a power scaler, right? Are treating immeasurable like it's just like space, but then he's doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Literally.
I think he actually mentions it. So here.
Actual speed, but a different range of motion where you are able to hop on top of the timeline and treat the temporal axis as if it is a spatial axis, which is why.
See? See?
What an L.
How'd you come to that conclusion?
Can we get someone who can like clip and stuff like that to make like a video that's like Drip Sauce criticizes Drip Sauce?
No, I don't need to give this kid any more clout than he like doesn't deserve. That's insane to me. He literally just said that immeasurable speed is like basically you are outside of the timeline and you walk on it like it's a spatial dimension, bro. What the fuck are you talking about? That's what is it? Is it just like a road, like a spatial road of like everything? Like that is, I don't know what the hell you're going on about, my dude.
I don't know. I don't know if it's just like it's one of those things where he's having to change his entire view on power scaling because he realizes that Goku does not fit the common definition of like immeasurable speed. So he needs to then create this whole new standard of how to scale things in order for Goku to remain on top. And that's why he has to constantly create new things in order to downplay other verses, so then it makes it more consistent for his own logic to then say, yeah, by my own standard, Goku still solos characters still.
Yeah. And dude, at that point, Drip Sauce, just make your own wiki. Like no one's gonna use it, but do it anyways if you just want to go ahead and create.
Oh no, he already has.
Don't tell me that.
He's made his own document of like his own tiering system.
Cringe.
Which is practically the same thing. So.
Yeah. Oh,
like,
Lord. Well, let's finish this out.
They are able to run to other different time periods, but it's actually a different range of motion and not an actual speed, because to qualify for immeasurable speed, you need to have...
What does range of motion mean?
Yeah, what does that mean?
What does that mean? Like, if you're saying it's not a speed and it's a different range of motion, then what is a different range of motion qualify then?
So
how is that different?
When I've been tasked to write videos for Surfbone, because I write Surfbone's videos, if I mention a word, I'll have to make sure that everybody either knows what it means or we'll give like a definition, right? And I'll have to make sure like that the definition has like proof and all this stuff behind it, right?
Yeah.
Because if you're basically inventing a word for the video, you have to make sure people know what it means. But this motherfucker is talking
another word.
Yeah, this motherfucker is like talking super confidently, using range of motion. What does it mean? How is it different? Like, name the trait that range of motion has that speed doesn't. Like,
like what's the differentiating quality? Like, I don't understand what range of motion.
If you're gonna act like these two things are different, then you should probably specify why, like, how these two things are different. Like, one of the things you often need to do is put yourself in the position of your audience and start like being the why by word and be like, okay, well, why does it mean this? It's like, why are these two things different? And it's like, and then you can end up answering those questions in your video.
Yeah.
Like, be the skeptic to your own arguments and end up making them stronger and easier to convey.
Yeah, facts.
By doing that.
Charlie, I agree. Surfbone doesn't surf, nor does he write his own videos. It's crazy. That's insane to me.
God damn it.
Charlie, bro.
God.
Yeah, he can't even
God
name 3 surfboards, bro.
I hate
Look
all
at
of
that.
you.
Oh my god, I couldn't. He probably doesn't even know what bones are.
Speed that is able to go to the very edge of infinity. I forgot the name of the fiction that did this, but it's like the Kings or some Kings or whatever. Atari explained it better on YouTube, where they go to the edge of infinity itself.
I told you.
Who the fuck is
this
Atari?
Motherfucker just gets all of his information from Atari, so then who is the one who like helped him like come up with this like Goku rank scale, and now he's then using it to then say, oh, well, this is how scaling actually works. But this motherfucker got just like basically destroyed so hard by me and Hashi, and we kept like trying to get him to talk to us about the scaling, and he kept like essentially not ever addressing us ever. And he's even like made a video saying he's like quit the community.
Yeah.
Like, even recently, somebody like tried to get in our server and like try to say the same bullshit.
Yeah, no, we didn't speed up the video. He's just talking, and it's not even that he's talking fast. He
no,
just
I
has like
think
a weird
he did
filter.
just speed up. No, I don't think it's a filter. I do think he probably just sped up his video
Really?
for the
That's
like ADHD effect.
Holy shit.
That's the biggest feeling the need to speed up
Because
your
remember,
own voice.
you can speed up your you can speed up your audio in CapCut. It's not that
Yeah.
difficult.
Yeah, I know. The fact that he has to do that's pretty cringe, though.
A measurable speed, not what Shinra is displaying. So base Shinra is not a measurable speed. He's just faster than light, bro. Naruto blitzes, Luffy blitzes, a lot of characters.
Bro, even at the bare minimum, bro, he performed an inaccessible feat, right? If you don't even agree with immeasurable, he like blatantly forced himself through 0 time. Obviously, he doesn't even agree with inaccessible, right? I don't.
By
I
his
don't
own
get it.
standard, Shinra still has infinite speed. So
Yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
another thing that's really telling about this side of the community too is that like their immediate retort after their video is like, oh yeah, all these characters beat him. It's like, Shinra could still be immeasurable, and all those characters could hypothetically just be faster.
Yeah.
Like that's not like a refute. Like characters aren't like stuck in a speed tier or something like that. Unless you're Goku, then you're stuck in MFTL. But
Bruh.
the problem that I see when it comes to like when people end the video after that, it's clear from the get-go that they had an agenda when it came to making this video and producing it to an audience.
yeah,
Like, they did it with the expressed like thing to be like, he's actually trash. All these characters beat him. Like Goku beats him, Luffy beats him, Naruto beats him. Just like, dude, why does that matter to the conclusion of your video? If your conclusion is, oh, by the way, Shinra doesn't in fact have immeasurable speed, this is a common misconception, then you shouldn't be then belittling all the people that used to believe it by saying, yeah, your favorite character actually isn't that fast, lol, characters beat him, XD.
Yeah.
I think that's
Like,
not
actually
how you come
provide
across as
something
convincing,
coherent.
my guy.
Yeah, and the fact that like anybody with like a brain, right, or who's like semi-coherent, understands how dumb this video is, right? Like they recognize and acknowledge that he genuinely doesn't know anything he's talking about. Like this meme right here really should be drip sauce and like basic human comprehension, right? Like that's what that meme should actually be.
Blitz Shinra.
Yeah.
And that's all
I
for
don't-
today. Like and follow for
Oh,
more.
my bad. Go ahead. I guess the video's ended anyway, so.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, I don't know if the intent is with this when Drip Sauce is trying to gain a new audience, but the people that Drip attracts and the people that end up following him are the people that are basically only coming to him because they want to hear something specifically. They want to hear their favorite character beats a favorite character. That's why they come to Drip Sauce, because they want to know what they have to say in order to argue it. They didn't come to the video to actually learn how powerful is he really, and does he stand up to these characters in actuality, while keeping the integrity of their verse intact.
I mean,
That's
that's
not
always
what-
kind of been like, well, it's always been true in like a lot of communities. Like if you look at like what happens in like a MOBA like league, right? People aren't looking up how to build or like how to know what to build. They just look up, oh, what did like the world champions use? What's the meta? And they'll just build that blindly. And the same thing happens like scaling, right? Like these people don't care like, why is this true? How would you come to that conclusion? It's what's like the new rat thing, I can argue.
That's
Yeah.
the world we live in now. That's crazy.
We truly do live in a society.
Yeah, we do. But yeah,
And-
that was the immeasurable speed thing. Fucking yeah. We'll move on to
like
something
The
hopefully a bit
quote-unquote
better.
debunk to immeasurable speed, which ended up being, I'm shifting the goalpost end video.
Yeah. So yeah, fat L on this video. I gave him a mammoth emoji. That's the best he'll get out of me.
Mammoth emoji out of 10.
Yeah. So the next video we
Like,
got
do you
is...
like how he ended the video with Goku?
That doesn't surprise me, bro.
Man, you couldn't be even more obvious.
So the next video we got, it's an 8-minute video. I might honestly just skim through this shit because I probably don't want to watch all of it. But This is Hyper Guy. He's tried debunking Shinra on multiple occasions, and his past few arguments have been pretty bad. But this is like a recent one that I haven't watched yet. It was in March or something, so we're gonna take a listen to it, see what kind of points he brings up this time, and see if they matter at all. So,
hey, what's up, everybody? Today I'm gonna be going.
Also, he's driving. Guys, don't ever do that. Don't make a video while you're
This
driving,
is not
man.
safe.
I don't condone this whatsoever. That's just a bad idea.
Ahead and debunking this video right here by.
Who made that video? Okay, well, so he's debunking someone else's argument, just to preface, then. Because I don't know if that video is even arguing the same things I argue. But we'll find out in a sec.
Spatial scaling Shinra revamped. I did a debunk on this a while ago, but I guess people either one, it wasn't as popular as I thought it was, and it didn't spread.
No, it was just wrong.
And people still don't understand. So, I also wasn't even going to make a video about this, but then I saw this. You know, I have to. At this point, that's my page. But if you haven't, go ahead and watch Drew Scales' debunk on it. He goes into very much in depth on a lot of things that I also agree with, and kind of use as an argumentation against why anything in like Fire Force is not even near universal. So yeah, go ahead and check out his scaling. So firstly, the other world contains the concept of mathematics and dimensionalities. Well, yes with mathematics, no with dimensionalities. Because as you showed here, the Japanese raw kanji or whatever refers to high dimension or higher dimensions or just higher dimension singular.
Yeah, that doesn't matter.
It has all those kanji definitions. But the most damning evidence is that this higher dimension is in reference to Adola. So, yeah. It honestly pains me to...
So
wait, hold on.
Okay,
What?
I know what he's arguing. So you know, in this panel where it says like a bunch of different like concepts that
yeah,
Joker
they're listing off.
interns-
Yeah, they're listing off all the different concepts that are being comprised within Adola.
Yeah.
And
so and
then we
what
end up-
he's saying is that this only relates to Adola as a whole, right? He's saying like, oh, when they say higher dimensions, they're referring to Adola, right? And it's like, well, if we use that, then we have to apply that standard to everything else they say, which
That's
they
what I
also
was gonna
say
say.
Truth, like up here or something. They say mathematics, like somewhere down here. They say bugs somewhere here, right? So is Adola fucking bugs, right? Like we have to apply that standard to everything they're saying because it's used within the same context.
Yeah, because if you're gonna make the differentiation that it's specifically like the higher dimensions one is the one that's different in comparison to all the other ones, that's like, oh, when they mention the concept of higher dimensions, they're specifically talking about Adola, not the concept itself, then you have to then prove that they actually make that differentiation. Otherwise, by your like line of reasoning, we then have to apply that to every single thing. Yeah. And unfortunately, we're going to be running into a lot of problems with that line of reasoning. So
yeah. So until you actually apply some sort of like differential, then yeah. Go ahead.
I'd like to respond to the chat. Yeah, someone said mathematics would include dimensionality. No, it wouldn't. Math is a language. It's not the thing it describes. Like 2 isn't 2 apples. It's 2.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I remember in I think one of my videos I did use mathematics when it said mathematics as like a support system or like as supporting evidence, but it like reflecting back on it now, or how months ago, like a year ago, honestly, I definitely don't agree that it like adds support to like any sort of impressive value to the scale, but it's mostly like the higher dimension stuff, right? Like that's kind of like a pretty solid. Like a significant part of the scale, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, obviously, you know, Hyper Guy, this is just relating to the concepts they see, and we know that there are concepts in there. So
or just higher dimension singular. It has all those kanji definitions. But the most damning evidence is that this higher dimension is in reference to Adola. So.
Oh, I also want to mention this is a different translation because see how they spell Adola, right? So this is like a different. This is a different translation.
Wait, hold
just
on.
Want to point that out.
Is this the scan that he says debunks this? The existence.
Yeah, they actually say.
other world
I think they might still say higher dimension in this bubble and like the actual official translations. Or it might say higher plane. It's one of the two, but again, that's not really too big of an issue because like they kind of go back and forth with calling either or the same thing. They reference Adola as like a higher plane or higher dimension multiple times, which is fine, right? We're not expecting Okubo to fucking use scaling terms or terms in the same way we do, right?
Also, the existence of a higher dimension that you and I saw, that doesn't then mean that when they're it's I don't get why it's like Adola can be a higher dimension without the previous scan having to like somehow relate to what they're talking about here.
Yeah.
Like unless they're saying like unless you're then going to say that all those things that they then saw were being demonstrated to them instead of them witnessing the concepts themselves, which is what they say later, that Adola is a realm or a higher like plane of existence or a higher dimension that comprises all of human ideation.
Yeah, there's literally nothing else like in there, right? You know what I mean? Like there's no aspects of like physicality in there. It's all conceptual within Adola. So when they're peering into it and they see these different things that they're naming off, right? That's what it relates to. I don't know why we would think anything otherwise.
Yeah. It honestly pains me to see that no one decides to take any ounce of effort to scroll down from when Burns and Joker went into their Adola link to where this actually shows and says that the higher dimension is in fact Adola. So
you just didn't take time to consider the difference.
That concept of higher dimension,
or you didn't even take time to consider your own line of reasoning and what that implies. Like, yeah, it's like we understand your argument better than you do.
Yeah. So Coco Pebble says higher dimension doesn't always mean something is bound by dimensionality, as sometimes in Japan it refers to a higher plane, as you have to prove that it's a non-metaphysical construct.
Metaphysics has nothing to do with it.
Yeah. I would just even throw that word out the window, but I get the basis of what you're trying to say. Well, in most like a majority of like pieces of context, if it says dimension, we're usually applying some form of physicality to it. But in this specific context with like Fire Force, we know that everything in Adola is conceptual, right, and abstract. So when they refer to higher dimensions in Adola, we know the context behind that, so we know they're speaking on the concept of it.
Also, in what Coco was saying, you notice how you also say that sometimes in Japan it refers to a higher plane. Well, yeah, it doesn't. That's not what we're talking about here, and that's not what we're saying in regards to the context when they mention the concept of higher dimensions.
Yeah, I'd also like to mention real fast that the reason why it's relevant is because in Japan they have a word called jigen, which is specifically for mathematical dimensions or like vectors. Mm-hmm. However, that word is as misused as dimension is over here. Mm-hmm. So it's a crapshoot either way. You just have to go by context, which is always the most important thing.
Exactly. Which, if he took the time to understand the context, he wouldn't be arguing this. But that's just me.
Coco Pebble says, "I meant metaphysical as an abstract or conceptual." Well, you shouldn't use that word.
Yeah, I think metaphysical is like a hype beast term now. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. Meta is something that's above physical, above the physical. Like, do you not know how I...
that's actually not where the word comes from.
Well, I'm just saying, like...
Back in the day, there was the idea that you'd explain, like, all the physical, and then after that, you'd go on to what's, like, metaphysical. So this would be after you're done with all the physics, effectively.
Right.
But there's no, like... That wouldn't be like inherently impressive or inherently contain anything, right?
Yeah.
And that's just Adola. That is literally just them noting Adola. That's all. And when it comes to the mathematics part, like Drew said, and like I said in a while back, it depends on like what the humanity actually conceptualizes, because all these concepts within Adola are bound to the perception of humanity. So if they don't know anything like set theory or whatever with it,
No, first of all, we can't even. That's such a non. Right.
We're,
That's such a
we're,
non.
we're diving into like random ass speculation, and for some reason, like the humanity that in Fire Force would just not be aware of these concepts whatsoever.
Yeah.
For some reason, like I get the whole like if you're trying to claim like it's like a no limits fallacy to like include all human ideation and stuff like that. But like to start going into like stuff where like, oh, well, we don't even know if this era of humanity is just as smart or whatever.
Yeah, it's
but,
a
like,
weird
we
like
already know
general
that, like,
knowledge claim. It's like I don't really like. There's just no point in using it. Like
if anything, like
oh god,
the world of Fire Force is just an evolved version of like our own universe. Because when we see Shinra go back in time, he literally sees us. Like
right.
He literally sees what humans look like us and us 3D beings and how realistic we look. And he was like honestly disgusted with what he saw, and he was like almost baffled.
Yeah, but
because of how different characters look.
Either way, I don't even use the argument for mathematics anymore. So like this is pretty much just like irrelevant.
Then mathematics, then that's not a part of mathematics. That's not the part of the conceptualization of mathematics in Adola. Same with anything, in fact. So you have to be very specific, and you have to like show what does humanity know.
No, you don't.
What do they think is the majority's opinion about a certain topic? That's the main thing about this, about concepts in Fire Force. Like they don't scale anywhere because the majority has to believe and perceive it as such. Just because one person thinks about Hilbert spaces or infinite dimensions.
Okay, so we've already recognized that characters, if you're going with this knowledge claim, we already know that characters like Joker and Burns know dimensions, right? If they're able to perceive and recognize one when they see it, right? So yeah, I would assume a majority of people know what the hell that is. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, that's so weird. And dimension, like the word or higher plane, is mentioned so many times throughout the series that I would believe that the likelihood of a majority of people knowing what a dimension is pretty high. So, yeah.
It kind of seems like incredibly disingenuous to just start noting the fact that, like, because there are so many theories about how dimensionality works in real life, that all of a sudden we're just not going to say, because our own humanity is able to come up with so many different ways of how to interpret things, that unless we know for certain how Fire Force is interpreting it, then we can't say for certain which one is being applied here. Like, obviously we have to go with, because now you're just leaving something unanswered, where your interpretation has no explanatory power, and you're now just being like throwing up your hands up in the air and be like, well, we don't know, man. Yeah. We don't know.
Man's is literally like Keemstar going on blog TV. Goddamn.
Yeah, I don't know. This is just such a weird tangent that he's going on. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, what's always funny is like people will like make this like really large standard for like any verse they're debunking. But, like if you look at like their own videos where they'll scale their verse, it will be like, oh well, they like call it like bright, so that must mean it's like light, and that means that they're light speed or something like that.
But then it will apply the same standards.
yeah, like on every other verse, like this super hard skeptic, where in order to be outer, you have to like specify that all space comes from this, and you have to have infinite dimensions and all this other bullshit. But when it's their verse, none of that matters.
Of course not. Like they only really nitpick the hell out of a scaling if they know that verse or that character beats the hell out of their favorite one. That's when like nitpicking the actual scale itself matters, but they won't apply that same standard to their own favorite character.
And you know, this is why I have a little bit more respect for something like can't go away, for something like Comic Find back in the day, because back then people would nitpick the hell out of like, can Nightwing like deadlift a car, right?
Yeah.
and that would have like the equal amount of like skepticism as like, oh, can Superman punch a moon, right?
Yeah.
But in the modern community, none of that's a thing.
W Crimson Flame, he just said he joined the server. Massive W
Big
there.
ups. Make sure to spam at Surfbone in the chat.
Yeah, do
Hell
it.
no. No.
Primordial says, can the quality of concepts vary from one verse to verse? Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. Like in Fire Force specifically, I'll even bring this up. Like the concept of despair, right? Or like the value for like how impressive it is as a concept actually is more than a majority of what like the concepts in Fire Force, right? Which is because a lot of the process of like the cataclysm and stuff leads all concepts to death or to ruin, right? And the driving force that leads all those concepts to that conclusion stems from despair as a concept. So
I'd like to add on for a real quick second.
Yeah.
There's this thing called like external consistency, which is like how consistent a work is with the real world. And in the real world, if we had forms like this, like it's where all of space or all of whatever is related to it would come from. But in fiction, we can have stuff that's like better than that. And so you'll see some verses will have like something that we would consider outer, and then slightly beyond that, they'll have something that's outer in comparison. They'll have like the same statements.
yeah.
So you'll literally just have like what we might call like a meta concept, right?
Yeah.
And this really pisses off a certain group of people too, and I think it's really funny.
Oh,
All right, I'm gonna let him.
brings me
Or
back.
whatever, doesn't mean anything. As long as the public, as long as the majority doesn't think so, it will never come to
Oh,
true
damn.
fruition. It will never become a concept within Adola. Next, the Evangelist / Adola scales to the other world. Well, this other world is Adola, but how does the Evangelist scale to them? You didn't really go into detail or even explain or show any proof of why that would be the case. Now, when it comes to the Evangelist scaling to Adola, I have no reason to believe that this is actually the case. There's no one who's able to provide any evidence or anything of the such why that would be the case.
Oh wait, can you
And
pause it for a second?
Yeah.
It says verse equalization is apply to concepts. Well, if like for instance, if we have like well, let's say like light, right? Like, do we assume that light in Naruto is any faster than light in Bleach? No, right? They're the same until shown otherwise, and the same thing would happen with concepts. So if we have the concept of space just like offhandedly mentioned in like DC, we don't assume that's like better than if it's like offhandedly mentioned in like Marvel or something like that. You have to have like evidence that like this particular form of it is like more impressive or something. And I've had arguments like this. I'm pretty sure Kosu was there, where like people will think that like fate is like equal, but you can have like really impressive forms of fate that like govern really high shit. So
Yeah. And as far as relating to the video, just like Mystic was just saying in the chat, the Evangelist is just stated to be like I want to say it's either that she is the collective unconscious or is like a manifestation of the collective unconscious, which I think still should be just as impressive. And the collective unconscious is just stated to be Adola. Like they kind of go hand in hand with each other throughout the series. Like
It's
just,
one of those things where it's like man created God,
yeah.
and the Evangelist is God.
Yeah, I even
And
mentioned
she's
this in
the-
my
and-
video, so it's like I don't know where Hyper Guy's getting that he never seen anybody talk about this. Like I absolutely have touched upon this. So I don't know. Maybe you just forgot. Maybe you just didn't watch the video.
You didn't
more than
either.
likely, or is
So
like
here's-
responding to like some other video.
Yeah. So something else, higher dimensions. Huh? Okay, so if you overcome the concept of dimension in Dragon Ball, would that be as impressive as overcoming the concept in Gurren Lagann?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
the thing about dimensions is that how these forms would work. Cat, get out! I don't like you. You don't have rights. Go away. Is that so when we see it being talked about and like played out and whatnot, it is it would have that everything. So the Platonic chair, for instance, like the concept of a chair, would contain every chair inside the receptacle, or like the word that Plato had to invent for space.
Yeah.
Because space wasn't really like invented yet as a term, and because because of that, this whole like, because dimensions are space, right? You would contain all of dimensionality. So there's not like it wouldn't be like, oh well, I have infinite +1 dimensions. That's kind of what VSB tries to do.
Yeah.
Is they try to like discredit universal statements in that way.
Yeah.
But that's not how it would actually work.
I have a pretty good analogy for this specific thing in my Arthur video. If you guys haven't watched that, I definitely would check that out.
Is it the cup one?
Yeah. I think it describes it pretty well on like why
I just remember you saying it all the time, so
yeah
in conversations, so
Yeah, you were in call getting everybody's opinion about the goddamn cup. So
yeah, it was. Hell yeah, it was. And everybody approved, damn it. Alright.
Some anti-feats on to say that Evangelist doesn't
wait,
actually
so
scare people at all.
where would you scale? Oh, that's a different guy. Never mind. The garbage is the answer. Crimson Flame.
Yeah, the garbage can. Yeah.
Not even neat. Funnily enough, you actually bring in one of the scans that I would use to debunk this. So first off, Adola is the assembly of human ideation.
Human.
Right? The culmination of human perception, blah, blah, blah. You can see right there. So essentially, Adola is all the concepts that humanity can perceive into one existence, right? So Adola is basically everything combined, okay? Now, what we have to understand...
What? That's weird. Don't say that. I wouldn't say that. It's not everything combined, right? It's literally just what, like, a collective unconscious is literally just like, or at least in the fictional like portrayal of it, right? Is like this bubble. Think of like a bubble, and like it has like every concept that's ever been perceived or conceptualized, like thought up ever, right? Like that doesn't mean like they're all combined together. That's a really weird thing to say.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it does just seem like he's trying to establish this like super high standard. And I think a lot of people do this because they think it makes them sound like smart or whatever. Like, oh, bro, like I don't think anything's out, or debate me.
Oh,
but it just makes you look really dumb and really edgy.
There's
and
a
also,
whole community that thinks that.
Yeah, what also looks like really bad is when you're like driving while on your phone. That's just dangerous. Like, don't do that.
Yeah, or like, you know, making a TikTok video while you're driving. But what?
Understand is God assembly of human ideation, right? The culmination of human perception, blah blah blah. You can see right there. So essentially, Adola
I just have
is
one
all the concepts that humanity can
to
perceive
everybody that ever makes these types of arguments. Where do you think these ideas come from? Do you think like gods made them? Like some super race of monkeys? Where do you think these ideas come from? We're trying to pretend that like humans didn't come up with these ideas, like, and then talk about them and then label them to certain things.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just seems so weird that we're trying to act like humans didn't come up with these things in the first place.
Yeah, like concepts just exist like outside of what we give them value to. Like it's
like how people. It's like how I'm sure Hashi can explain this better. How people assume mathematics just can coexist without humans being there.
Yeah, I mean,
humans to give it meaning.
The big issue I have with like the community is that they'll like reject these like basic things being strong, right? Where like this like very because I think the way how a lot of us have like defined scaling, right, in like videos and amongst the community, right, it's been like very easy to understand, very like simple, make sense, etc. But like these people can't stand for that because they want to sound smart, so nothing can be outer because of like this weird like idea they heard about online once, right? But this thing can be outer because they know about it and it sounds smart, and if you know about it, you're cool, right? And it's this thing, it's like that idea but repeated ad infinitum, and it's really tiring. And it's exactly what happened in VSB, and it's probably what's going to keep happening on TikTok. So.
Sorry, I had to... Give me 1 second.
I'm going to go pee real fast. 1 moment.
All right, let's.
Okay, sorry, something important.
We're all good.
Yeah, but we could just wait for Hashi real quick and answer some of these questions. So,
Yeah, shoot some questions in the chat.
I don't know. Ask Naya. I feel like I've heard that so many times from you, Surfbone, that like, like when I read him like say that just now, I read it in your voice.
Oh my god. Oftentimes I've used the Ask Naya like line just because I don't want to answer it.
I know.
Or very rare instances do I just think that Naya just is better capable of answering those questions than I am.
Yeah, I think a majority of the time whenever I've like come to you with a question, like they've been pretty thought-provoking for the most part, right? And so then you're just like, you know, I can't really explain this in like well enough, so go to Naya. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Benimaru.
Whenever I tell other people to go to Naya, it's mainly because we all collectively hate Naya, so we're going to subject him to the stupidity of the world so that we don't have to.
I wish he was more active, so we could do that.
He joined Call earlier and then left to meet like not even like 2 minutes later.
What, like here, like this one?
Yeah. Did you not notice that?
No. What the hell, man? El Naya, bro.
He literally. That's why Hashi mentioned the whole Mario thing. This because Naya joined Call.
Oh, that's funny. They govern time and space. They aren't the concepts of space and time. Wait, what are you talking about? I don't know if that's.
Oh, he's talking about. They're talking about Pokemon now.
Oh, I mean, okay. So if you think Dialga and Palkia are the concepts of space, I see what you're saying. I don't know shit about Pokemon, like scaling wise. I don't know a damn thing.
That is a legitimate question for Naya.
Yeah.
He is the legit Pokemon master. So.
Yeah. Let's see, is there any questions I skipped? But yeah, so much. Someone try to debate me because he said Aizen destroyed reason, making him outer. What the hell? It's like destroyed the concept of reason.
It's because we use reasoning in order to come up with these arguments. That therefore, that means that if we're able to use reason to come up with an outerversal argument, then if someone is beyond reason, therefore they're outer.
Yeah.
Wow.
Facts. That means
Don't ever do that
my
again.
character is above your argument, bro.
Look, I'm just saying it's not that hard to come up with an argument like that. And if it's that easy for me to come up with an argument like that off the top of my dome, it probably is not good.
No. Hashi, hurry the hell up. Arceus doesn't need dialogue to embody concepts. It is responsible for creation.
Yeah, now they're
anyways.
just debating in the comments.
I don't know. I guess so. I don't think they're debating, but they're definitely talking about Pokemon stuff.
Bro, just concede.
Just concede, yeah.
Have you seen that that meme where it's just like screw arguing, I'm just gonna start agreeing with you.
Your life has no meaning. You should concede now.
Oh no. Your argument means nothing. It serves zero purpose. You should concede now. Oh man.
Also, does anybody know where Anos actually scales? Because this guy's like apparently a big Anos goon. Like, I don't.
He's like water level.
That might be the reason why he's so hard hitting on Shinra not being outer, because then he's on Anos' level now.
Yeah, you know what? Like,
Which is
I hope
quite
he
the
has
big
an
spend.
Anos scale on his page, because I will just watch that and like debunk him to like door level or something, man. Like if he keeps trying me, you know what I'm saying? Because like he's been out for this outer Shinra stuff forever, and like after the first few failed attempts, he's just like back at it again.
Yeah, Hashi, we were just mentioning that this guy is also conveniently somebody who really likes Anos, who
Oh, yeah.
who the community likes to argue is outerverse as well. So that's more than likely the reason why he's so hard on the, you know, the debunk train for outerversal Shinra. So
Yeah, I mean, that's always kind of the issue is that people will scale something. They want their character to be strong. So they'll like be really skeptical of anything that puts any other character in like striking range, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe one day I'll see if he has an Ano scale that I could pick apart. But since you're back, let's continue.
One existence, right?
Word.
So Adola is basically everything combined. Okay? Now, what we have to understand is God. God is a very unique concept, really. And so, who would in case be
really.
God? But bam, that's the Evangelist right there. You see? The Evangelist is essentially God. Like when you saw Burns and Joker go.
Obviously, that's, I mean, that he says God twice, right? Which obviously they even state multiple times that the Evangelist is the concept of God, like multiple times. So this actually makes my argument consistent because she's literally right there.
Go into their Adola link. They looked at the Evangelist. They started listing off things that they could see within this entire realm of concepts, essentially. So, like we said, the higher plane would be, in this case, referencing Adola. But then they notice also reference God. Who are they looking at? They are looking directly at the Evangelist.
Yeah.
Meaning the Evangelist is humans' perception of God.
But actually, Hyper, Hamaya said that neither her or the Evangelist were God, so yeah, they're the collective existence.
Yeah, no one argues that.
Right and wrong at the same time.
You literally just made up your own argument so you can counter it. Like that was
That's called a straw man, my good friend.
That was so cringy, dude. Come on.
I just have a question for this guy who supposedly has read Fire Force. Why does the Evangelist look the way she does?
Yeah.
And if you read Fire Force, you would know this. The reason she looks like that is because while man created God, she also manipulates the mind of humans, and is the entire reason why other religions previously existed, but then eventually over time manipulated their image of God to eventually looking like the Evangelist.
Yeah.
Almost like being able to manipulate the minds of humans and what their perception of God is actually an incredibly relevant plot point.
Yeah. Weird how that works and weird how that's consistent.
I don't know, bro.
So if gods view them as powerful, then they're probably very powerful.
Yeah.
And they could and the Evangelist manipulating all of humanity for the course of like over centuries upon centuries has eventually manipulated them into thinking of her as this ultimate god, in which she's then able to essentially bring the end to everything.
Yeah.
And bring about the great cataclysm again.
And also God in Fire Force isn't even something that unique. Like Benimaru is considered a god. Like, you know what I mean? Shinra is considered a god. Hamea's fucking like, you know what I'm saying? Like there's been a couple of different gods, right? This is just like an irrelevant point. I don't know.
Yeah, what does this have to do with the actual outerversal debunk?
Probably nothing at all.
Yes, the Evangelist is not God. Because in this sense, God as a concept, as an idea, would be almighty, absolute, perfect.
Says who? Who said that?
Hold on, mister. Are you telling me that you are now presupposing that their version of God is an almighty absolute God? Are we all of a sudden now just twisting? Because correct me if I'm wrong here. You were saying that we couldn't even fathom or even speculate on what like type of mathematics humans in Fire Force were able to come up with, but now you're just randomly asserting that this is their view of God for some reason based off of nothing.
Weird.
That's very weird.
The only time they've ever referenced an absolute God was death at the end, right? And the
Which
person that
Shinra
like
created.
yeah, and Shinra is the one who created that absolute god, and he's the one who referenced them as an absolute god. So the only absolute god was death, right? Or I guess technically Shinra by that standard too, but you know, yeah, I don't know. This is weird.
But the Evangelist is not. The reason why her ideas or her statements do not matter is because, according to Adola, it is the collective unconscious of humanity. All the concepts within Adola are based off the majority's perception. The reason why, I'll get into that a little bit later, but the reason that means that Haumea, no matter what Haumea believes, that does not matter because she is not a part of the majority. She is in fact
she's literally the vessel for the collective unconscious. So yeah, she's
Why do you think she's crying
vital.
all the time, my guy?
She's
It's
extremely
because she
vital.
has because she knows what everybody's thinking.
Yeah. Her ideas are so vital. What the hell? This is
And
so weird.
may
man.
I-
He
may
really
I
didn't
add-
read Fire Force.
May I add, why was the Great Cataclysm a relevant plot point and a relevant event to occur? It's almost like the merging of humanity with the Evangelist was her whole plan the entire time. That's crazy.
Yeah. We also know that certain individuals have a bigger influence over Adola than the majority. This is pretty much anybody who's one, considered a pillar, or two is just has a grasp of Adola, right? Which would be either Shinra, Sho, Arthur, Benimaru, and we see this on multiple instances because of the amount of things that they alter with Adola, right? So this is just so weird to say that the majority is in full control of what happens. Otherwise, the Arthur and Dragon fight would have been nothing. I don't know if Surfbone had another thing to say or not.
Not really.
Okay,
I've kind of said everything I needed to say.
Good.
This
Yeah.
guy just did not read anything.
Close grip bench press. That's an interesting name, by the way.
one of the minority who know that Evangelist is not God. The best way
she's
to
God.
showcase this is to talk about doppelgangers. Doppelgangers are humanity's perceptions on an individual. However, not everybody will think about the same thing about a person at all.
Obviously.
So let's take Shinra, for example. Now, no matter who in this company, who in this Fire Force division or whatever, know Shinra to be a really good, kind-hearted person who just wants to do good, right? The majority's perception on him knows of him as that person who pretty much killed his family. He's a gangster or whatever, just a bad person, evil. And that's what his doppelganger shows. His doppelganger is evil, but that's only the majority's perception on Shinra.
But this is Shinra is also unique because the people that are strong enough to make any kind of impression of Adola, anybody that's powerful enough, either doesn't give a shit about Shinra or also thinks of him as a devil, right? So anybody that has any sort of influence over Adola that could outweigh the majority, also has this opinion, right? Arthur has always thought of him as a devil, throughout the series until late, right? Benimaru doesn't have an opinion. He doesn't give a shit. He thinks everyone's weak. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't actually have an opinion. And the majority, that would mean just the majority rules, right? So the majority would think of Shinra as this demon or devil, right? Which is fine. I think you could have picked a way better example of a doppelganger than Shinra.
Also, may I add, who is the doppelganger of the Evangelist?
Yeah.
Who's the doppelganger? It can't be the devil, right? Couldn't be.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like I read Fire Force or anything.
Yeah.
Well,
this guy
I don't
obviously
know.
hasn't.
Clearly not the person who we're reacting to right now, because these were just common things that I was able to come up with. as watching his video and reacting to his arguments.
Yeah.
Maybe you shouldn't have previous conceptions or other, like, how your views of other characters influence how you view other series.
I don't even know why
the
doppelganger point's relevant to the outer stuff. So, like, I don't know why he's bringing this up at all.
Like, he's just further demonstrating how little he knows of the series.
Yeah.
Not everyone's perception of Shinra. So it doesn't matter what, like Iris, for example, it doesn't matter what Iris believes Shinra to be. His doppelganger is not going to show that. It's going to show what the majority perceives them to be. For example,
Iris also didn't become a pillar until way later. So, like, her opinion didn't really matter as much yet.
Well, another example would be Benimaru's. Benimaru's doppelganger was supposed to be the strongest in the world. However,
it is the strongest doppelganger. It is the strongest doppelganger.
The strongest doppelganger. And then it turns out,
go ahead.
As Benimaru then proves, what people's perception may not always be accurate.
Yeah. Like, that just means that nobody knows how strong the strongest actually is. So.
Yep. Exactly.
But however strong they thought it was weaker than Benimaru actually was. Right? But it was still the strongest thing that you could think of in Adola. Like, there's no other way of interpreting Benimaru's doppelganger as, like, weaker than any other, right? Because they make it such a point to say, like, dude, like, if you had a doppelganger, it would just ruin everything, right? Like, I don't know, man. I don't.
Yeah, it all goes based on what you've previously thought of and what is something that you've seen in order to base your perception off of, right? So if they've only seen Benimaru who hasn't gone all out before, and they've never seen a character stronger than that version of Benimaru, then they're going to interpret him as the strongest.
Yeah.
And we then end up seeing that as Benimaru then ends up one-shotting him. Saying like, it seems like people didn't really know who the strongest was, truly.
Yeah. His doppelganger is arguably stronger than the Evangelist, to be honest, because he's also revered as a god, so.
How do people know what the strongest would look like? That's why Benimaru wasn't that difficult to take him out, because the perception of Benimaru was the strongest in the world, but humans' perception is limited, and this
by how much?
Well, what?
is also another case of that.
Well, like,
meaning,
by what? How are they limited?
Yeah.
You can't just say that human perception is limited without specifying what it is limited by.
Yeah.
Right. Like, if I've only seen a red apple, right? My perception, and I've never seen any other version of an apple before. That means that I only know about this type of apple, and I've never even seen all other apples before. And because of that, my perception is actually therefore limited because of my ignorance. Right?
Yeah.
And with the whole Benimaru thing, as we just said, their perception is limited because they've never actually seen Benimaru go all out before. That's why Benimaru, like the real one-shots him.
Yeah.
That's how shit works.
And they know, like, they have a pretty damn good idea about how strong Benimaru actually is after witnessing their fight witnessing his fight with his master's doppelganger, right? Like, so, you know, we see Benimaru already perform an outerversal feat, right, in a fight prior to his fight with his doppelganger, right? And then all of his village, like, watches this happen, right? And you don't think that they have some kind of way of, or some kind of gauge of his power at that point, right? Because they definitely thought he was stronger after that, right? So that should translate to his doppelganger, right? And even then, we would assume, like, his doppelganger would be as powerful as he was during that fight, and he'd still one-shotted him. So, yeah. I don't know. Super strange.
That the Evangelist, being the perception of God, would be.
Did you have something to say, Hashi?
Oh no, my alt just left the call.
Oh.
be a concept that makes up
Discord crashed.
Adola, meaning that
Whatever.
Evangelist can
This guy
never
hasn't been
be
saying
equal
anything
to
I'd
Adola
really even comment about for the past 10 minutes.
Yeah,
so.
I've noticed. Yeah, it's mostly just Fire Force stuff that you can't really comment
Yeah.
on. Yeah. Until he says like something scaling wise that's dumb.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it just seems like most of like the video is just gonna be him trying to like nitpick Fire Force. So
Yeah.
because it is
If he keeps going on just like tangents, I might just skim through.
a concept that
Yeah.
makes it up. That is it's bound by Adola. It's bound by the human perception. So the Evangelist will never equal Adola. Now I got that long spiel out the way.
It's a wrong
Transcending the
spiel.
concept of dimensionalities will grant you low-out reversal.
yeah,
No, not really. Here's the issue. Now you could
That's versus Battle Wikis thing, I think, right?
Could affect structures with a number of dimensions greater. I think that's Yep, yeah, that is. I see Aleph
Yeah.
1 in there.
Aleph 1. Yeah, this is versus Battle Wikis. Like I already just don't care. like immediately.
yeah.
Because
The issue, I was gonna say, the issue with that like idea of scaling is it's like trying to assert that like the concept of space or all of dimensionality is like a no limits fallacy. But then they try to like invoke inaccessibility, but you can't have both
yeah.
because the concept of space isn't a no limits fallacy. It has a limit. We set it at like a baseline, and if you're stronger than it, you're stronger than it. You can be weaker than it, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you can't have inaccessibility in the same way, or we could say like things that are inaccessible to countable numbers, a no limits fallacy by the same standard.
Yeah.
It's just like completely incoherent, and the chat might know this already, but it's like I say, the only people who use VSB are new people and rats. There is no in between.
Yep. I agree.
So
Yeah, they're and a lot of their higher tier scaling in VSBW is just so incoherent.
Yeah. I made like a whole chat just based around it and actually taking what they've said and then extrapolating upon that and just demonstrating how just convoluted and terrible their definitions are and how different it is compared to something like character stats currently.
Yeah,
I might need to even eventually make a video on it just so people are aware.
I would. It's consistent with your content, so
Yeah.
yeah, let's see what he has to say.
make an argument for low outer. You can even make an argument for a high outer because of how VSBW states what. Because I'm pretty sure outer reversal is a dimensional thing as well. So you could say that that's high outer, but the thing is they don't use concepts to scale anymore. They stopped that. They completely stopped that. What you're looking at would be character stats. But if you're saying that dimensionalities
Finally, the first kind of like sort of W, right? Like, God.
Well, at least
dimensionalities
he is like aware enough to be able to tell his audience, by the way, if you use VSB, that means you're still using a tiering system that's limited by dimensionality. But if you use something like character stats, that's not the case.
Yeah. So just know
Yeah.
if you use VSBW, your character's weaker.
yeah, and not only that, but like you're literally agreeing with people who are making the system out of spite.
Yep.
And you can see it because people on VSB will get really mad when you're like, yeah, Darkside solos that math burst because all you have is a bunch of math, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing like beyond the concept, and they get like really upset about it.
Yeah. VSBW doesn't use concepts. Yeah, that's why they suck.
be
Yeah,
low outer.
that's why they're bad.
Not really, because that all depends on because dimensionality, that'd be like probably further into Aleph Null, which would just be high hyper. So that's all that would get you. But even then, nobody transcends those concepts. Even
That's like baseline high hyper would be like Aleph Null, right?
Well, like,
Yeah,
well, it's just like
Aleph Null
yeah.
is regular infinity, yeah.
Yeah.
So it would be baseline high hyper.
Yeah, but like that extends in like infinitely upwards, right? By that standard.
Well, yeah, high hyper is any amount of dimensionality past infinite.
Yeah. So
Like no amount of dimensionality gets you unbound by the thing that would contain all of dimensionality. So
yeah.
even in their world, or even the concept of a higher dimension. So all this, Evangelist fusing with Hameyo, doesn't. Shinra casually scales to Hameyo and defeats her, doesn't matter. Meaning
It
this
does
not matter at all. In
only
fact,
low out-reversal. Man, come on. That's an L.
low out-reversal,
Yeah, I don't even know how
I
you're
don't know,
getting
like-
louder.
Yeah.
I still don't know how you get that. Irrelevant
But
speed.
Anos gets there, right?
Yeah. Love to hear his
I'm-
argument on that.
That's not tiering in VSBW, and you're using VSBW's tiering to scale Shinra. So
Now, if pause, if whoever's arguing this is using VSB, they're a rat or they're new. Like I know probably most people in the chat agree with it at this point, but if you're using VSB, you aren't worth listening to. Like at all. You are not intelligent. You are not worth listening to. Like no. Like
Damn.
Your
Unless you're, like,
arguments have no meaning.
Honestly.
That's what we were saying, Hashi, right before you got in here. It was just like, your argument means nothing. It serves zero purpose. You should
Damn
concede
straight.
now.
Yeah. Like just don't use it. Like do yourself a favor and like use character stats, right? Or make just scale with your own stuff. Maybe even that's kind of weird because you might not know what you're talking about. But like
Yeah.
character stats is definitely the better of the two, right?
Yeah. I mean, and like the thing is like I said, when people go to VSB, you can tell they have a motive. I've never seen someone genuinely go, yeah, I just use VSB because I think it's the best, and not have something in the back of their pocket.
Yeah.
I also think Goku's out of her, so we're bound.
Spitting.
They'll say they use VSB and then they'll say something.
Yeah.
So yeah, nothing in Fire Force scales past out-of-versal. In fact,
Actually, no, I agree. It doesn't scale past out-of-versal. You're right. I think it just scales to out-of-versal.
would be nothing past 4D. Adola.
Oh, well, what the fuck, bro?
What?
It doesn't.
No
it
way.
doesn't-
Even if we went
Uni
by,
Plus, like, oh
even
my
if we
God.
went by like just what's presented in this video, Adola should at least be 5D.
at the very least, like if you don't want to agree with concepts being like uber impressive, right? Like there's been enough shown to get like 5D. So I don't know, man. Regardless, I don't even agree with the video he was reacting to because it was like it was already based off of like a flawed framework, right? But like his reasonings and lines of logic for any kind of response or any kind of like scaling that guy gave was just horrible, right? The only W that he said the entire time was that like CSAP was better.
Yep.
So I don't know, man. I'm not gonna finish off the extra minute. We already know what he says. So let's see. What is this? This is actually only like 21 seconds. So
All right, before we start, I'm gonna refill my drink.
do it.
So,
Xeno Goku's multi plus to low complex multi. I've never actually scaled Xeno Goku.
Depending on how well certain videos do, who knows? There might be something in the future.
Yeah. Only reason I never
Trump
went into like
just-
the Xenoverse stuff or like the like Capsule Corp Goku stuff is because there's just so much to go
Yeah.
through. Like I just
Luckily-
would rather not.
Yeah, at least with the Xenoverse stuff, most of the stuff comes from the games, and then there's the manga. I'm fairly certain I know, and then there's obviously some of the stuff from what's it called, like the promotional anime that you can use, but I don't know if there's anything that's really useful in there.
Yeah.
In terms of like, because the only reason why I would think you would want to get into Xenoverse or Heroes is if you're going to use it for like crossverse scaling or something.
Yeah.
No one cares about the inverse scaling for freaking Heroes or Xenoverse.
I don't
bro.
think I've ever heard
No
an
one.
inverse topic for heroes.
No one talks about Demigra. No one talks about those other two like weird like other demon people. That like Toa and Mira.
Toa.
Yeah, Mira and Toa. No one talks about those guys ever.
Yeah.
I'm back. What guys? Talking about 5 guys because they're pretty good.
Yeah, they are.
Hell yeah.
Where do you guys personally scale Goku? Low multi, MFTL plus.
Multi,
Yeah.
I think, with multipliers, but yeah,
Oh, true.
basically
true,
the same
yeah.
thing. Yeah.
I was, just thinking base, but
I mean,
actually,
his base
actually,
should get
technically,
stronger
yeah, I was
too,
like,
really.
yeah, even at the end, like towards the end, yeah, he should definitely be multi. All right, so part 1 of scaling Giorno and GR fan.
All right. Tag in Hashi.
Shit. hold
Oh
on.
lord. All right, let's watch it.
Actually, we should full screen it. All right, can you see that by
Yeah.
the way, full screened?
It lagged. All right, yeah, we should be good.
Okay. Okay, this is gonna go pretty fast. It said that he can see the pinnacle of truth. Oh, fuck.
What's the pinnacle of truth?
Yeah, I don't know what that is. I think my stream's
Oh
delayed.
no
a bit,
way, bro! Look at this.
All right, my stream's delayed a sec. Oh lord, he's using. Yeah, I don't even need to watch this anymore. Like,
Nah, bro, come on.
Next.
Like-
next.
Nah.
this is just bad. Like, this is like, I'm not gonna name names, but this is like, oh, this is why every character is boundless in 10 seconds, and it's just like the dumbest shit you've ever seen.
Oh,
like-
that's so crazy. And then also, why is that high outer anyways? Like,
Yeah, I don't. People always like try to attribute like truth as being like this OP, but wouldn't like truth just be a trait things have when they like correlate to reality?
yeah.
Like it's not raining outside. Yeah, is it raining outside in reality? No, right? That's true. Does that make it like impressive or something? Like,
Oh, yeah, it's hard. That's right.
and this is what I talked about a bit ago, where like these arguments are worse for smart people because there's some like really like philosophical hype beast bullshit you could pull with truth that like I'm thinking about right now, but I'm not gonna give this guy the credit
Don't.
of
Yeah.
he's definitely arguing this, right?
Yeah. I wonder
So-
if he explains anything about the achieve true Platonism.
Yeah.
Metaphysical truth. Okay. All right.
We're like daisy chaining definitions right now. Like, oh, it says truth, which has to be this truth, which also means it's this thing. It's like, good lord, dude. Like, maybe if this guy's one of those like channels, is that what you call them on TikToks, or you just call them garbage bins? I don't
Pages.
know.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
it's one of those garbage bins where like they're like arguing every character is super strong. Then I get it. If that's like their gimmick, then fine. You know, that's kind of funny, whatever, right?
Yeah.
But when it's like, oh well, I'm only doing this for Giorno, it's like, go watch the video I wrote on Surfbone's channel about boats and also hoes.
Yeah.
But there weren't that many hoes in that video, but
None, actually. I counted.
oh damn, Surfbone, get on that.
As fast as. Okay, you know what? let's just
Yep.
go.
It's
over
funny
here.
that it's funny that he made this whole video upscaling Star Platinum.
Yo, that's spitting. That's actually crazy. All right, so I personally already have watched this one, but I wanted to address it anyways, and I wanted to get your reaction on this, Hashi.
All right, let me reconnect to the stream real fast, like the Discord stream.
Yeah.
'Cause it is lagging like a kid on BO2.
Yeah. So this Tizzy kid, I've already responded to like his takes before, and I think in terms of like, you know, obviously not considering the shit that we just watched with like the Platonism stuff, but like outside of that, this dude has like the most like weirdest, outrageous takes for like Giorno, and like he actually just makes shit up, and I don't know how or where
he
he gets it
actually
from.
makes.
Yeah, like bro, like actually just reads it and says like, you'll fuck it, you'll get what I mean. Like,
Alright.
So you ready?
It's still doing the 2 block thing, yeah, where they're swirling around each other.
Yeah.
Try lowering the quality on the Discord stream.
Round the world,
I don't think Discord
round the
likes.
world.
Shit.
Let's see.
I will take a peek
Stream
at the chat in the
quality.
meantime.
I'll. 'll do 720 for you. 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 720 for you.
I asked in a different stream if you could give an opinion on this video. Oh, well, good. God, we're getting to it. Oh no, not this guy. That's funny.
Yeah, you ready?
Just try clicking play and we'll see if it works.
Who
in, like,
wins in a
heat of the
fight? The
moment
My
type thing.
Hero verse?
Good.
The
Yeah, I
Naruto
did.
Here we
verse?
go. I'll watch the stream now.
You said it's working?
Yeah, it's not working here. I'm gonna try restarting my computer real fast. One moment.
Okay. Yeah.
Or like restarting Discord, all that good stuff.
Oh lordy. That argument I dealt with in it. Man, this I'm telling you, man, this guy has like such weird takes for Giorno. And like the amount of traction he gets off of this is like crazy to me too, because like he's like a relatively big page on TikTok. So like a lot of his stuff will like gain a lot of views, but like it just baffles me that he should have access to like so many different creators or so many different forms of like information to like teach himself these things, but I just think he blatantly doesn't care. Like I think he just makes this shit up to make it up. No, he just doesn't give a shit.
Base.
Is anyone in JoJo's Outerversal? I don't think so. At least not in the
Remember-
main continuity.
I'm sorry, that was
So what?
anything in JoJo's Outerversal in your book.
Light novel Dio. I don't know shit about anything light novel wise for JoJo's. So. Also, Surfbone, you still here?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Good. Better.
Like I said, I tagged Hashi in.
Yeah. Well, still feel free to give your input, obviously. 40 at max.
You guys are watching this. I'm playing Tears for the Kingdom.
Like everybody is,
Alright.
huh?
Yeah, Discord had an update that explains a decent bit.
Yeah. What's up, Count? Good to see you, homie. Dizzy is someone who will say like who will like say outrageous stuff and will never debate or actually discuss. And when he does, he either gets slammed or like he's just not a debater. He's not even a scaler. Like he just says like a bunch of shit that he's heard.
I don't like to do this thing where like if you say something you have to be a debater and whatever, because that gets like a little bit toxic. But at the same time, if you're like making these claims, you should be able to defend them to some extent, right? Like here's why this is right, here's why what someone said was wrong, whatever, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, like or at least be able to elaborate on what you mean, like and explain your stance. Like you don't have to debate goon it, but like man, don't just like shy away from it just because someone presses you on it. All right, you ready?
And like I don't think still updating Discord.
Right.
Oh wow, it put me right back in. Yeah, I can see it now.
Okay. What were you gonna say?
Oh, I was gonna say like I'd understand like with a lot of the people in the community who are gonna ask him to like ontologically prove that his knowledge claim is right or some bullshit. But I don't think that's the entire community.
Yeah.
I think the people who do that are cringe lords who can go touch grass.
Yeah.
So
Lord, I've had to deal with that so many times. All right. Well, let's get it.
Who wins in a fight? The My Hero verse? The Naruto verse? The Jujutsu Kaisen verse with Gojo? The Black Clover verse? The Fire Force verse? The One Punch Man verse? The Bleach verse? And finally, the Dragon Ball verse? All up against Giorno Giovanna from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. With as many verses that Giorno is going up against here, my money is still on Giorno. For those of you who don't know how powerful Giorno is, Giorno possesses a stand known as Golden Experience Requiem. And what this stand does is it's basically the ultimate defense in all of anime. Anyone who has any sort of
What did he say?
intention or even...
He said like GER is like the ultimate defense, but it's not. GER is trash.
Yeah.
Like, especially like if we compare it to something like the Almighty or even like Food Luck and Toriko, GER is just utter trash. Like clearly against like Diablo, it had to wait for Diablo to do his thing before it could do anything, right?
Yeah.
And even then, GER has to be summoned to do anything. I know people are gonna say it's passive, but they don't understand what passive means. I think like GER can move autonomously of Giorno once it's summoned,
Yeah.
but clearly that's not the case when it's just like away, like it would be in a fight.
Yeah.
And if it is passive and always active, that just gives the argument that he couldn't do shit against Maiden Heaven even more credit.
Yeah.
Because then it should have just acted autonomously, right, and just reverted that.
But
But
can't,
apparently not.
So.
Yeah, like.
But you know who did give him trouble?
Star Platinum.
In all of anime, anyone who has any sort of ill intention or even tries hurting
I
Giorno.
also don't like that people say all of anime. Like Sailor Moon would body Giorno.
Like no hesitation. Like and it would like not even be a fight, dude.
Like Fate Servants would body Giorno. Digimon would body Giorno.
Pokemon.
What's Giorno gonna do when Naruto just comes out and happy as hell?
Happy as
He's
hell.
like, I'm gonna save you, and then hits him with a Rasengan.
Yeah, bro.
I actually don't know what Giorno would do against Naruto.
Nothing.
Man gets hit with the Rasengan and gets flown off the planet, I guess.
Like, it's like, oh, he tries to revert it to 0. Well, Naruto has like Uni plus AP, so that's not really gonna work. He can't hit Naruto ever. Life Shot isn't gonna do anything because Naruto has like Sage Mode and he's like seen as like neutral to animals, right? They're not mad at him.
Yeah.
Yeah, Naruto kind of hardwalls Giorno too. So does Goku. Giorno like cannot beat Goku in any scenario.
No, Hashi. He
So
can't.
Accelerator has a better defense. Yeah, so does like Funny Valentine, who's also in JoJo's.
That's
Funny
true.
Valentine is actually like way better. So.
Yeah.
What does Giorno do when Saitama just comes out and he's like, man, boring as hell, and then punches him?
Yeah, he
There's,
like
no,
actually
there's no intelligence there.
he like actually has like a technique called like reverse causality too now. So that's just funny as hell to me. Like
reversal of causality, yeah, as time travel and measurable speed.
Yeah.
To be fair, he only has it at that.
Yeah, but he'd still just donkey punch this fucking this idiot. Like
any sort of ill intention or even
okay, so like
tries
here, listen to his what he just says here
the
too.
ultimate defense in all of anime. Anyone who has any sort of ill intention or even tries hurting Giorno instantly has their attacks reverted to 0.
Is that how revert to 0 works?
I don't think so, because if that's how it works, then that, like I said, that makes the Star Platinum argument even better, right?
Yeah.
Because Pucci had ill will, right?
Yeah.
Also, it didn't stop Diavolo at the very beginning. It took actually 15 seconds to stop him, right?
Yeah.
So that's clearly not how it works. And like that would also mean that like at the end when we see all the mob bosses like kissing up to Giorno, that would also mean that like any of them that had ill will got negged passively off screen and we just don't see it. No one ever talks about it. Mista isn't needed as a guard either because GER will just do it, you know?
Yeah.
Like that's just not true.
Yeah. And like yeah, Pucci had like ill intent for what he did to the universe, right? Like
yep.
So I don't know. That just seems weird that GR didn't do a damn thing.
Yeah.
So basically, the stand undoes their attack, meaning no one would.
It doesn't undo their attack perfectly either.
Yeah,
it's also not true.
Yeah, and like you said, it takes like a certain time frame. There's like a sequence that has to happen, right? Diablo was still able to do a bunch of things before GR did anything in response. So like, what's to say that like any character from like any of these verses wouldn't just punch his head off?
Like nothing. That's like the issue.
Yeah.
To even hurt Giorno, let alone lay a single finger on him. And the best part about this ability is it's completely automatic. So
no, it's not. Like the best argument for GER nerfs him. That's like the most funny thing in the world to me. If you want Giorno to be as strong as possible, you literally have to argue that Star Platinum's stronger.
Wait, what? Why?
Because if he's like passive and stuff like that, that'd mean that he couldn't do anything against Maiden Heaven.
Yeah, that's true. That's insane, man. I don't know where people get this from. It's like they honestly just, I think especially Tizzy, he's like a good example of someone who just heard this opinion from a JoJo's fan and just decided to roll with it. Like, he's absolute. I can guarantee you, I would put money on it that this kid did not look up anything specifically for this. Like, he absolutely heard it in a discussion about this character and was like, you know, I can make a video about it and it would blow up, right? He doesn't give a damn.
If you're making like videos, I think you should have like a standard for yourself, right? You shouldn't just be like making like whatever like window licker 2254 said in a debate that you thought sounded cool. Like you need to have a standard for yourself.
Just remember, your content reflects upon you. So whatever you make, people now see you as your content. Your content is you. So whatever you make, if your content is trash, people are gonna think you're trash. It's not.
Yeah, Surfbone, you're trash.
Man, it'd be like that.
If a character is somehow faster than Giorno, which no character in any of those verses are.
What?
Okay, why?
Wait, go back a few seconds and repeat that.
But even if a character is somehow faster than Giorno, automatic.
Wait, what do you mean somehow? He's
even
bullet
if a
speed.
character is somehow faster than Giorno, which no character in any of those verses are, but even if a character is, it doesn't matter because it's an automatic ability and it will automatically activate.
And no,
that's not how that
fallacy.
works either.
like
it'd be one thing if GER was like constantly reverting everything to 0, right? But that's not what we see. It has to like choose to react to things. Operative word being react, right?
Yeah.
So
and
you know what's funny is unironically, Gojo's Infinity is infinitely more unironically infinitely more impressive than Giorno's like revert to 0.
Absolutely.
Because
it is for sure.
Because in comparison, like what you said, Hashi, if I assume what you're saying is correct, Gojo's ability is predicated off the fact that he's basically developed it in a way where it reacts to threats against him, and if anything that is possible to damage him, it then stops it with Infinity. And it was such a potent thing that it didn't even discern friend from foe. Hence, when Gojo was going to go fight Sukuna, Yuji had to make note, yo, we want to give you a pat on your back for good luck, but because you have Infinity up, we cannot do that. He's like, oh, well, okay. Then turns it off. It says, go ahead, give me your best shot. And then they all give him a gold pat on the back. Then he has to turn it back on again. Like,
GER's return to 0 is like it wants to be Gojo's Infinity, but it's not.
It wants
right?
to be.
Like people desperately want them to be the same thing, but it's just never gonna happen. And
that's funny. Defeat a hype beast character with another hype beast character.
Yeah. Keep in mind that the only example of return to 0 that we see is on someone who's slower than GER. So
in canon, in Eyes of Heaven, it gets negged really fast, and Dio doesn't even care about it.
That's crazy.
Like Giorno goes to punch like over Heaven Dio with it. Dio doesn't care. Tusk Act 4 hits him. He's like, oh, this is the power that put Funny Valentine in a twist. And then negs him too.
Damn. So he actually said something about an even more powerful stand.
Yes. Yep.
What happens if fucking Giorno like GR tries to attack Sasuke and then Sasuke just genjutsus him into thinking it worked and it didn't, and then he just kills him. Like,
he did the entire Naruto verse, so then he puts him in Tsukiyomi and he thinks that he's reverting everybody.
The entire Naruto verse. What happens when he touches a true seeing?
Oh, dude, yeah, he's gone from existence.
Yeah.
Is Giorno like gonna revert existence erasure? Has he ever done something like that?
No.
Actually,
what happens when Kaguya teleports into another dimension and then destroys that dimension?
Here, how about this? We can pick and choose at least one character from each of these that would absolutely body him, right? So, I'm pretty sure there are My Hero characters that are like FTL and stuff, right?
Most of them.
Most of them?
FTL. Yeah. The students are FTL.
Ah, gotcha.
So
like, it's very
Deku
possible
unironically
for like,
body?
Probably.
Deku probably would.
Yeah. He'd probably like punch a hole in him or like fucking, I don't know, who's someone with like a weird quirk. Fucking, let's see. I don't know. I think by brute force, because like Giorno's not even strong. He's like building one.
What about the one that creates a black hole?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
What if GER gets sucked into her?
Dude, he's fucked at that point, right?
It's just
What if-
like
what if
his ability
Uraraka-
is so trash, man.
What if Uraraka just has him floating like into space, right?
Then, yeah, is DER gonna save him? Is he gonna revert to zero the fact that he went to space?
Yeah. And the Naruto verse, literally anyone. JJK verse, I mean, a majority,
including Gojo.
Gojo would
I don't know why he
unironically
couldn't say that.
like again. GR would not touch Gojo.
No.
He would not be able to.
I think Gojo would actually be unimpressed. Like he would be like fucking upset that Giorno's so goddamn weak.
He's just like, man, you have like you're so awful at being able to counter things that you have to reset things so that it doesn't happen. Like that's it's kind of a he's like that. He'd be like that. That's kind of beta. I don't know.
Yeah, Black Clover, probably literally anyone.
Yep.
Fire Force, literally anyone.
Asta would stab him and probably just destroy GR that way.
Yeah, most likely.
He'd probably take away his stand.
Yeah, probably. Fire
Slice
Force,
up GR. He's no more.
One Punch Man, literally anyone. I'm pretty sure.
Blast. Actually, anybody with fighting spirit would probably just be able to walk through.
Let me tell you
GR.
something crazy that Saitama can do. What happens when he just like infiltrates like Giorno's mind, shots GR,
Just punches fucking.
because that
GR
is
out
something
of
that
his
he does.
brain.
He just went into someone's
Yep.
mind casually. Was like, "Yo, what's up?"
Yeah, I remember that.
And they were like,
actually.
"What the hell are you in my mind?" And he's
Yeah.
like, "I don't know. The door was open."
Yeah, that shit was funny as hell.
So Silver dude be spitting all that power for something so mid.
Yeah, honestly. I know if you're repping Giorno in like the year of our 2023, you have problems. Like,
Yeah. You have like, I don't know, man. You're pretty inept. Dragon Ball, literally anyone.
yeah, I genuinely think GER can't beat Goku.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
what,
We came to that
16
like
seconds?
we came to that like revelation that there's not a single thing Giorno can do to Goku at all. Like, there's not even a possible argument you could make.
Yeah.
Because like
It would
Goku
be
genuinely
that-
has a defense for everything and just has an like he can kill him in any way.
It would be
Yeah.
that like Goku punching Jace over and over again meme. He would just be constantly punching Giorno each and every time, even if he constantly keeps reverting to zero. He just one shots him
That's
every
even that.
single
That's pretty
time.
generous. Because like
Yeah.
even Jace was tanking those punches for the most part, or like he, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like Giorno just wouldn't. I think one punch and his head would explode.
Yeah.
It's like that like really cringe meme of like people having Saitama punch Goku in the back, and he's like, "Well, who threw that pebble?" That's literally what would happen with Giorno.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. That's pretty much it. I don't know if you guys have anything else for us to react to, but I think I'll probably. I don't know how long the stream's been going on, but
Almost 2 hours.
yeah. So I think I'll probably end it off here. Then
Let's react to Surfbone's newest video.
No.
No, I don't want to expose these guys to cringe. But yeah, if you guys haven't already, go subscribe to Surfbone, and Hashi does have a YouTube, but you go follow him on Twitter. Just go follow him on Twitter. And it'll be in the description under the stream, or in the stream. So go ahead and click on those links. And yeah, if you guys want any sort of reactions to any videos that you guys want, join the Discord. Here, I'll even pop in a link for it real quick. Yeah, just pop in there. There's gonna be like a channel that says like Kosu reacts. If you guys want me to react to anything or any of us to react to anything, I usually bring a person on. So just send a link through there. So I appreciate y'all, and for the people that did donate, much love to you guys. I think that's. I don't think unless you guys want to say anything else.
Not really.
Good.
Make sure when you join to spam at Surfbone, by the way.
No.
Yeah, that has to be the first thing you do. So just at
How about
Surfbone
no?
and
I'll
just do it
say
in
one
general
thing.
chat.
If you use the word rebunk unironically,
Rebunk, yeah. I should blacklist that word.
That'll be fun.
Anyways, guys, thanks again, and I will see you guys in the next stream. Peace out.
Peace.